We can move on to Aston Villa. Now, their accounts published, Keith, showed a losses of £120 million. Do you think there will be some concerns behind the scenes at Villa potentially?
Well, look, I've got to say the owners there are excellent operators. They're very intelligent, very professional people. They're obviously aware of these numbers. And I think I mentioned before, I think Emery would look to trim his squad anyway. And so I think they're going to be okay on this. But again, it brings into complete focus the folly of the present PSR rules. Because here's a club like Villa, they're not exactly breaking the bank. They're not spending, £500 million. And they can't, they're trying to compete against the clubs above them. And yet they're being restricted again in trying to improve. The owners have got resources. They're not saddling the club with debt and trying to do it as a one big hit. So again, this just brings clearly into focus for me the chance that there is this drawbridge that the top six have pulled up. And, if Villa's trying to beat, which they are, but they're beating Chelsea in the table, yet Chelsea, Man United can still go ahead and spend all that money. Villa can't. And it just seems wrong at the moment. It's just something that's got to be done.
A bit of a positive for them if we look at it from a different perspective, Keith. If they are to secure Champions League status next year, if they make the top four, how much of a boost financially will that be? Not only for the club, but I think from that point of view, from a PSR perspective as well.
But it's not just the Champions League; it's even the Europa League. I think would be enough for them to actually see that they would not be breaching PSR. So I think those are key things for them to go, as well as any squad, sales, etc. So yes, for Villa, it would make a big difference in terms of those things, and it would allow them to probably go shopping at a slightly different level than they may have to right now. They've certainly done very well this season. I'm very pleased for them. A great club, and as I say, it just seems to me that here's a perfect club with resources that are unencumbered, with owners that have got the money to do it, and yet they can't go and spend a little bit further to try and make it up to those positions.
And if bids do come in for the likes of then Douglas Luiz, Jacob Ramsey, in essence, if they are to get top four, do you expect them to go in the summer? Or actually, I know you've spoken about Emery will trim his squad, but for those real key assets, will he try and keep hold of them to build something there?
Well, again, a lot could depend on where they do end up and what European competitions they're in. I think if they had Champions League, then they'd be able to hang on to them, and they'd want to hang on to some of the players. Look, Emery knows his players now and his squad, so it will depend, I think, a lot on the European competition they end up in, and as to who really goes or who doesn't go. But certainly, there's talent in that squad that has got value, and so they've got those options available to them, which some of the clubs before haven't had.